Hello and welcome on Thomas Geiger Car. Today with the first glimpse on the long-awaited BMW X7, the first 7-seater full-size SUV of the Bavarian luxury brand. A car that will compete against Mercedes GLS and the Range Rover from early next year on. If you want to know what to expect from that vehicle and how that competition could look like, join me on my test drive here on Thomas Geiger Car and I'll tell you more about it. It was quite a challenge for the engineers to balance that car because it weighs way more than 2 tons and it still has to be dynamic because it's a BMW. On the other hand, it has to be very, very comfortable because it's a 7 Series. The solution is made out of 3 parts: the air suspension on both axles, the rear wheel steering, and a system that avoids the tilting of the body. Combined with the different settings that you can choose on your own, the car has really different characters. Once you go on the highway, it is the long-distance cruiser. It is more like flying than driving. And on a curvy country road like this, it behaves pretty dynamic. Definitely not like an X4 or an X6, but for a car of more than 5 meters, it is pretty agile. The X7 is not a stretched X5, but nevertheless the car will use the same engines as we will see it in the new X5. So we will have 6 and 8 cylinders petrol and diesel engines, up to 4 liters of displacement, and I would guess 450-500 horsepower. 2 things missing in my taste. There are no talks about a plug-in hybrid at the moment, but at least it's definitely possible because there is a plug-in hybrid in the X5. And there are no talks about a V12 engine, something that would be unique in that segment. Yes, you can have the Bentayga from Bentley, you can have the Lamborghini Urus, and for sure the Rolls-Royce Cullinan. But in the segment below, the X7 could be the first and only with a V12 engine. So my suggestion, go to your BMW dealer, ask and ask again, and maybe they will give you a 12-cylinder in the not so far future. One of the unique features on the X7 is the 2-axle air suspension. X5 had it only at the rear, and it was more to lift and to balance the weight if you load the trunk. Here it's really a comfort feature, and it's got different settings. In total 8 centimeters difference between the lowest and the highest version. So if we raise the car, now it's at the lowest level for easy ingress, and now it's raising in 5 steps, in total 8 centimeters, and then you can really go off-roading with that vehicle as well. Obviously I can't tell you much about the design of the X7 because the car is still camouflaged, but even underneath that psychedelic foil you can realize it's not just a stretched X5. We have the biggest kidney grille BMW has ever produced. We have a totally new side profile, and the engineers told me there is no sheet metal the same as on any other BMW X Series. The car is about 5 meters and 10 long. I would guess the wheelbase is about 3 meters. That gives you a lot of space in the interior, something we're gonna look for in a second. The number 7 at the X7 does not only show you the relation to the 7 Series, the flagship sedan, it also stands for the number of seats, because it's the first BMW SUV that is available with 7 seats. The 3rd row is always standard. 2 in the front, 3 in the middle, 2 in the back. And if you like it more comfortable, you can get 2 single seats in the 2nd row with the same quality as in the 1st row. Whatever configuration you take, all the seats are electrically adjusted. And I can move the 2nd row for about 20 centimeters to adjust legroom in the back or my comfort. So that's really a luxury cruiser as long as you sit in the 2nd row. Now we're going to check out how the comfort is if you go into the 3rd row. I'm pretty surprised about the space the X7 offers even in the 3rd row. I must admit, it's a bit difficult to fold down and up the seats, at least in the early prototypes. And even then, it's still hard to enter the third row because you have to climb over them and to make your way through a pretty narrow door. But once you sit here, it is really comfortable. Definitely not for grown-ups and for hours and hours. My place would be behind the wheel or on the passenger seat. But my children could drive here for a long, long journey. So really comfortable, way better than, for example, in a Mercedes GLS. Thanks for joining me on that first secret pre-drive with the new BMW X7, a car that we've been waiting for quite a long time. But at least BMW made use of that time and did a proper job. The car is a pure BMW and it's way more dynamic than all of the competitors. Nevertheless, it's also very comfortable, a kind of 7 Series with higher crown clearance. Problem? It still takes another year until it comes to the market. And until that, we will have a new GLS and the next Range Rover right around the corner. Thank you, tschüsschen, and bye-bye.